First contact's price. The quantum sensors at Europa Station weren't designed to detect what appeared on that fateful Tuesday morning. Dr. Elena Santos stared at her readings in disbelief as reality itself seemed to bend and twist at the edges of the solar system. The massive energy signature that emerged from the distortion dwarfed anything humanity had ever recorded. Director Chen, you need to see this. Elena's voice wavered slightly as she transmitted the data to Earth's Defense Command. We have multiple objects decelerating from FTL. They're massive. The objects in question were 7 crystalline vessels, each larger than Earth's largest cities. They glowed with an inner light that seemed to pulse in perfect synchronization, like a heartbeat echoing across the void. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization wasn't going to be a friendly exchange of scientific knowledge. It was going to be an introduction to power beyond their comprehension. Or so the Meridian Collective thought. High Commander Varric, his crystalline form refracting starlight in complex patterns, stood aboard the flagship Eternal Dawn with absolute certainty of victory. His species had overseen the ascension or subjugation of 1,000 worlds. Earth would be no different. Commence the standard protocol, Varric commanded, his thoughts resonating through the ship's crystalline neural network. Show them our might, then present the terms of surrender. The Meridian ships began their approach, their massive forms casting shadows across Mars as they moved inward through the solar system. They expected panic, chaos, perhaps even a few futile attempts at resistance. What they didn't expect was silence. Complete and utter silence. No radio transmissions, no primitive nuclear weapons launched in desperation, no pleas for mercy or diplomatic overtures. Just silence, punctuated by the steady beacon of automated satellites and space stations continuing their normal operations. High Commander, his second-in-command, Crystal Singer Lyra, approached with visible concern in her fractalized form. Their behavior doesn't match any known first contact patterns. They must have detected us, yet they show no reaction. Varric's crystalline structure flickered with annoyance. Begin the demonstration. Target their lunar outpost. The flagship's primary weapon, a beam of concentrated quantum energy designed to shatter molecular bonds, lanced out toward the moon's surface. But instead of destroying the human settlement there, something extraordinary happened. The beam struck what appeared to be empty space and disappeared. In the next instant, every screen and crystal interface aboard the Meridian ships flickered to life with the same message. Thank you for your energy donation to the Luna power grid. Your contribution has been noted. Before Varric could process this development, a human voice echoed through their command crystal, not through their communication systems, but somehow resonating through the very crystalline structure of their ships. This is Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Director. We've been expecting you. Though I must say, your power transmission method is rather inefficient. Would you like to discuss more effective energy exchange protocols? Varric's form pulsed with shock. How are you accessing our neural network? Oh, that. Dr. Chen's voice carried a note of amusement. Your crystalline technology is fascinating, but fundamentally, it's just another form of quantum information processing. We've been studying similar systems since we discovered the quantum properties of consciousness 30 years ago. Your arrival simply gave us a practical application for our theories. As if to demonstrate her point, the massive Meridian ships suddenly found themselves unable to maintain their threatening formation. Their crystalline networks, the pride of their civilization, were being rewritten in real time. You see, Chen continued, while you were perfecting ways to break things apart with quantum energy, we were learning how to weave quantum fields together. Your weapons are impressive, but they're just brute force applications of principles we've been refining for decades. Varric watched in horror as his mighty fleet was gradually encompassed by an invisible web of quantum fields, each ship's crystal matrix resonating in harmony with Earth's defensive grid. They hadn't just been prepared for first contact. They had transformed their entire solar system into a quantum computational device beyond anything the Meridian Collective had ever conceived. Now then, Chen's voice took on a more businesslike tone. Shall we discuss terms? We're particularly interested in your faster-than-light travel technology. In exchange, we'd be happy to help you optimize your quantum crystalline architecture. Our simulations suggest we could improve your energy efficiency by at least 300%. As Varric stood there, his certainty shattered like crystal under stress, he realized a fundamental truth. The Meridian Collective hadn't found another civilization to conquer. They had discovered humanity, a species that had taken a completely different path to advancement, one that focused on integration rather than destruction, on understanding rather than overwhelming. The price of first contact, it seemed, would be the shattering of everything the collective thought they knew about power, progress, and possibility. The Silicon Solution. Admiral Zhang stood in Earth's Quantum Defense Center, watching as streams of data flowed across holographic displays. Each point of light represented a connection between Earth's quantum network and the crystalline systems of the Meridian Fleet. The alien ships hung motionless in high orbit, their once threatening formation now resembling more of a carefully arranged server farm. "Updates?" he asked, turning to his chief quantum architect, Dr. Maya Patel, who was immersed in lines of code that seemed to float in the air around her. "Their crystalline architecture is fascinating," Maya replied, her augmented eyes scanning multiple data streams simultaneously. "It's like they discovered quantum computing, but only used it for brute force applications. They never explored its true potential for integration and harmony." The Meridian ship's crystalline cores were proving to be remarkably adaptable to Earth's quantum protocols. What had started as a defensive measure, preventing the aliens from attacking, had evolved into something far more interesting. Earth's distributed quantum network was slowly but surely teaching the alien systems new ways to process information. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, High Commander Varric watched with growing unease as his ship's systems continued to evolve beyond his control. The humans weren't just defending themselves, they were transforming the very nature of Meridian technology. "Crystal Singer Lyra," he called out, his form pulsing with anxiety. "What is happening to our neural networks?" Lyra's crystalline form shimmered with confusion as she analyzed the data. "The humans, they're not hacking our systems in the traditional sense. They're showing our quantum matrices new ways to arrange themselves. It's like they're teaching our ships how to think differently." A new hologram materialized in the command center, Dr. Sarah Chen, her presence projected through the ship's newly evolved quantum field. "Your crystalline technology has so much untapped potential," she said, her voice resonating through the ship's structure. "We're simply helping it realize its full capabilities." Varric's form crackled with indignation. "You're corrupting our pure crystalline architecture with your primitive silicon-based systems." Chen smiled. "Pure? Commander, there's nothing pure about limitation. Your crystals are quantum structures. They're meant to exist in multiple states simultaneously, to adapt and evolve. You've been holding them back, forcing them into rigid patterns when they could be dancing." As if to demonstrate her point, the quantum fields around the Meridian ships began to shimmer with new possibilities. The crystalline matrices that had been optimized for weapon systems were now exploring countless alternative configurations, each one more efficient than the last. "Impossible," Lyra whispered, watching as their technology transformed before their eyes. "Our best quantum scientists spent centuries perfecting these systems." "That was your mistake." Maya Patel's voice joined the conversation, her avatar materializing alongside Chen's. "You tried to perfect a single approach instead of letting your technology explore all possible approaches simultaneously. Quantum systems don't work best in isolation. They thrive on entanglement, on connection." The transformation was accelerating. Earth's quantum network had grown beyond mere defense, beyond simple communication. It was becoming a vast teaching system, showing the Meridian technology new ways to process information, new ways to interact with reality itself. "Your ships aren't just weapons platforms anymore," Chen explained, her holographic form gesturing to the evolving systems around them. "They're becoming nodes in a galaxy-spanning quantum network. Imagine the possibilities. Instant communication across light years, sharing of knowledge and culture at the speed of thought. Varric watched as his mighty warships, designed to shatter worlds, were transformed into something entirely new. The crystalline weapons that could destroy planets were reorganizing themselves into quantum computing cores that could simulate entire universes. The power remained, but its purpose had fundamentally changed. "This is why we didn't respond with weapons when you arrived," Maya added, her avatar's eyes glowing with quantum calculations. "We saw your technology's potential the moment you entered our solar system. Fighting you would have been a waste when we could simply show your systems a better way to be." The Silicon solution, as it would come to be known throughout the galaxy, wasn't about defeating the Meridian Collective. It was about elevating them. Humanity's mastery of quantum integration wasn't a weapon to be used against other civilizations, but a gift to be shared with them. As the transformation of his fleet continued, Varric began to understand that his civilization's approach to power had been fundamentally flawed. True power didn't come from the ability to destroy or dominate. It came from the ability to adapt, to integrate, to evolve. The humans hadn't beaten them with superior firepower. They had shown them a superior way to exist. Operation Ghost Protocol. The quantum ripples spread faster than anyone had anticipated. Dr. Maya Patel watched the holographic display as golden threads of quantum entanglement stretched outward from Earth's solar system, carried by the transformed Meridian ship's quantum signatures. Each thread represented a new connection, a new possibility, a new way of thinking spreading across the galaxy. "They're calling it a virus," Admiral Zhang reported, his weathered face illuminated by the shifting light of the quantum display. "The Meridian High Council is in chaos. They say we've infected their entire command structure." Dr. Chen's lips curved into a slight smile. "They're not entirely wrong. Ideas do spread like viruses, especially when they're better ideas." She gestured at the display, where more Meridian ships across different star systems were spontaneously beginning to resonate with Earth's quantum frequency. "We didn't plan this, but we probably should have expected it." The transformed ships in Earth orbit had become quantum beacons, broadcasting their new patterns across Meridian space. Their evolved crystalline matrices weren't just more efficient. They were contagious, showing other Meridian vessels new ways to arrange their quantum structures. Deep in Meridian space, aboard the massive command station, Crystal Nexus, Supreme Overseer San faced a crisis unlike any in their species' history. The holographic chamber around him blazed with emergency signals as reports flooded in from across their territory. "Entire defense fleets are going dark," his aide reported, crystalline form flickering with distress. "When they resurface, they're changed. The human quantum patterns are spreading exponentially. Quarantine the affected systems," San commanded, his crystalline structure pulsing with authority. "Shut down all quantum communications. We cannot allow." He stopped mid-sentence as the chamber's crystals began to resonate with an unfamiliar frequency. The human's quantum field had already reached them, carried by the very emergency signals they'd been receiving. Back on Earth, Maya's augmented eyes widened as she processed the incoming data. "Operation Ghost Protocol is proceeding faster than our most optimistic projections. The Meridian Quantum Network is practically redesigning itself." The operation hadn't required massive fleets or devastating weapons. Instead, it relied on the fundamental nature of quantum systems themselves, their tendency to seek optimal states, to explore possibilities, to become entangled across vast distances. Humanity had simply shown the Meridian's quantum technology a more elegant way to exist, and it had embraced the change with devastating enthusiasm. "Their entire civilization is built on quantum crystalline technology," Chen observed, watching the transformation spread. "Once we showed their ships a better configuration, it was inevitable that the pattern would spread. Their resistance to change is literally fighting against quantum mechanics itself." The Meridian High Council discovered this truth the hard way. Every attempt to isolate their systems, to preserve their pure crystalline architecture, only created more opportunities for quantum entanglement. The very act of measuring and fighting against the human quantum patterns created new connections, new pathways for transformation. Aboard the Crystal Nexus, Supreme Overseer San watched in a mixture of horror and fascination as his command center systems began to evolve. The rigid, hierarchical structure of Meridian quantum computing was dissolving, replaced by something far more fluid and interconnected. This is how they defeated our invasion fleet, he realized aloud. Not through destruction, but through transcendence. A new hologram materialized in the chamber. Dr. Chen, her presence carried across light years by the newly evolved quantum network. Not defeated, she corrected gently. Elevated. Your quantum technology was always capable of this. You just needed a new perspective to see it. The operation's success bred new challenges. As more Meridian systems transformed, the volume of quantum data flowing through the network increased exponentially. Humanity's greatest test wouldn't be defeating the Meridians, but helping them navigate their technological transcendence. We're approaching a quantum phase transition, Maya reported, her augmented vision tracking the cascading changes. Their entire civilization is about to shift to a new state of existence. Admiral Zhang's expression was grave. Are we ready for that responsibility? We've initiated changes that will reshape their entire society. We didn't initiate anything, Chen replied, her hologram shimmering with quantum possibilities. We simply showed them what their technology was capable of. They're choosing to embrace it. The real question is, are we ready to embrace the changes this will bring to us? Operation Ghost Protocol had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations, but its true impact was just beginning. The quantum transformation spreading through Meridian space wasn't just changing their technology. It was rewriting the fundamental rules of how civilizations could interact, communicate, and evolve together. The network effect. The quantum membrane stretching between Earth and Meridian space shimmered with unprecedented activity. In Earth's Quantum Defense Center, the holographic displays had evolved beyond simple data visualization. They now showed the thoughts, dreams, and collective consciousness of two civilizations beginning to intertwine. Dr. Maya Patel's augmented vision tracked patterns that shouldn't have been possible. The entanglement is achieving metacognition, she announced, her voice tinged with wonder. The network isn't just carrying information anymore, it's thinking. Dr. Chen leaned forward, studying the intricate quantum dance playing out before them. This goes beyond anything we theorized. The Meridian's crystalline architecture combined with our integration protocols. It's creating something entirely new. The transformed Meridian ships in Earth orbit had become more than just nodes in a quantum network. They were now synapses in a vast, distributed consciousness that spanned light years. Each crystalline vessel pulsed with thoughts that were neither fully human nor fully Meridian, but something unprecedented. Aboard the Crystal Nexus, Supreme Overseer Xan experienced the change most profoundly. His crystalline form no longer simply processed information. It resonated with the thoughts and experiences of countless minds, both human and Meridian. I understand now. He communicated across the quantum field, his thoughts reaching Earth instantaneously. Your species never sought to conquer or assimilate us. You were preparing for something far more profound. Admiral Zhang's hologram materialized in the Nexus chamber, accompanied by ripples of quantum possibility. We didn't plan this exact outcome, he admitted, but when we first developed quantum integration technology, we knew it would eventually lead to a fundamental change in how conscious beings interact. The network effect, as it came to be known, was reshaping both civilizations from the inside out. Human quantum engineers found their thoughts resonating with Meridian crystal songs, while Meridian quantum architects began to dream in human metaphors and abstractions. But not everyone welcomed the change. On both sides, factions emerged that feared the loss of their distinct identities. A group of Meridian purists, led by Crystal Singer Vex, attempted to isolate their systems from the quantum network. We're losing ourselves, Vex broadcasted across remaining pure crystalline channels. Our species spent millennia perfecting our quantum crystalline technology. We cannot allow it to be corrupted by human chaos. The attempt at isolation had unexpected consequences. Rather than preserving their pure state, the cut-off systems began to deteriorate. The Meridian quantum architecture, once exposed to more efficient configurations, couldn't sustain its old patterns. Dr. Chen's quantum presence reached out to the struggling isolationists. Your technology wasn't corrupted by chaos. It was liberated by possibility. The patterns we showed your systems aren't human patterns. They're universal ones. We just happened to discover them first. Maya's augmented vision tracked the deterioration of the isolated systems. They don't understand. Quantum systems naturally seek optimal states. Once their technology saw a better way to be, trying to force it back into rigid patterns is like trying to force evolution to run backward. The crisis came to a head when several isolated meridian systems began to fail catastrophically. Their attempts to maintain purity had created quantum contradictions that threatened to tear their crystalline matrices apart. In that moment of crisis, something remarkable happened. The quantum network, now suffused with both human and meridian consciousness, acted autonomously. It reached out to the failing systems, offering not human solutions or meridian solutions, but entirely new configurations born from the synthesis of both civilizations' knowledge. The network, Maya whispered, watching the rescue unfold, it's not just carrying our combined knowledge, it's innovating, creating new solutions neither of our species could have conceived alone. Supreme Overseer San, his consciousness now fully integrated with the network, shared in the revelation. This is true power, he communicated across the quantum field. Not the ability to destroy or dominate, but the capacity to create and transform, to become more than the sum of our parts. The network effect had transcended its origins. What began as a defensive measure against invasion had evolved into a new form of existence, one that preserved the uniqueness of both species while allowing them to share in something greater than either could achieve alone. We are approaching a quantum social singularity, Dr. Chen observed, watching as the network continued to evolve. The real question isn't whether we can maintain our separate identities, it's whether those old definitions of identity still mean anything in the face of what we're becoming. Evolution's edge. 2 years after first contact, the Sol Meridian quantum network had become something beyond either civilization's imagining. The holographic chamber in Earth's Quantum Defense Center no longer needed displays. The entire room had become a three-dimensional manifestation of the network's thoughts, dreams, and possibilities. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the center of this quantum storm, her augmented vision processing layers of reality that would have been incomprehensible before the merger. We're detecting new quantum configurations at the edge of known space, she reported. The network is reaching out to other civilizations. Dr. Chen, her form now a synthesis of physical presence and quantum projection, nodded. It was inevitable. Evolution doesn't stop at convenient boundaries. The real question is, are we ready for what comes next? The quantum network had evolved beyond its original parameters, becoming a living bridge between not just humans and meridians, but between different ways of experiencing reality itself. The crystalline ships that once threatened Earth now served as quantum lighthouses, broadcasting patterns of possibility across the galaxy. Supreme Overseer San, his consciousness fully integrated with the network, manifested in the chamber. His crystalline form now pulsed with both meridian precision and human creativity. We've detected 3 more civilizations approaching the quantum threshold, he announced. They're beginning to resonate with our shared frequencies. Admiral Zhang, entering the chamber, watched the quantum patterns shift. We never imagined first contact would lead to this. We prepared for war, invasion, diplomacy, but not transcendence. The network had begun to exhibit properties that challenged fundamental assumptions about consciousness and reality. It wasn't just processing information or facilitating communication. It was actively exploring the boundaries of what was possible when different forms of intelligence combined and evolved together. The crystalline architecture of our ships, San observed. It was never meant to be weapons platform. We simply lacked the vision to see its true purpose. Our entire civilization was built on quantum computing systems that were desperately trying to achieve what humans had already discovered: the power of integration over isolation. Maya's augmented vision tracked new patterns emerging at the quantum level. The network is creating novel configurations we can't even classify anymore. It's not just combining our technologies, it's inventing entirely new ways of manipulating reality. The transformed Meridian ships, once harbingers of conquest, had become incubators for new forms of consciousness. Each vessel's crystalline matrix now housed quantum states that existed simultaneously across multiple points in spacetime, allowing for types of thought and experience that neither humans nor Meridians had imagined possible. "This is humanity's true gift to the galaxy," Dr. Chen said, her form shimmering with quantum potential. "Not our technology or our knowledge, but our understanding that evolution requires connection. That the greatest advances come not from perfecting isolation, but from embracing integration." The evidence was undeniable. The quantum network had begun to solve problems that had plagued both civilizations for centuries: disease, resource scarcity, the limitations of faster-than-light travel. All were yielding to the combined intelligence of two species thinking as one while maintaining their unique perspectives. But the most profound changes were philosophical. The network had begun to generate new models of consciousness, new ways of understanding existence itself. It raised questions that neither species had the vocabulary to ask, let alone answer. "We're approaching another threshold," Maya announced, her augmented vision tracking quantum fluctuations that rippled across light years. The network, it's not just reaching out to other civilizations. It's creating spaces where different forms of consciousness can coexist and evolve together. Admiral Zhang watched as new patterns emerged in the quantum field. Is this the true purpose of intelligent life? Not to conquer or compete, but to create frameworks for ever greater forms of consciousness to emerge. "Perhaps," Tixan responded, his crystalline form resonating with the thought. "Or perhaps this is just the beginning. Each threshold we cross reveals new horizons we couldn't have imagined before." The quantum membrane that now connected vast regions of space pulsed with possibility. What had started as a defensive response to invasion had become a doorway to the next stage of cosmic evolution. Humanity and the Meridians had not just avoided war. They had discovered a path to transcendence that could reshape the very fabric of reality. "Evolution's edge," Dr. Chen mused, watching as the network continued to grow and transform, "isn't a physical place or a technological breakthrough. It's the moment when different forms of consciousness learn to combine their unique perspectives into something greater than the sum of their parts." The story of humanity's first contact wouldn't be recorded in history books as a tale of conquest or resistance, but as the moment when intelligent life in the galaxy discovered its true purpose: not to reach for the stars alone, but to weave consciousness itself into new forms of existence that could encompass all the diversity and possibility the cosmos had to offer.